fucking won. The goddamn story's finally done. I never gotta bring it up again.
Did you know that if you say Warhammer 3 times on a mirror, Henry Cavill will appear? As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and follow me on TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. Also, make sure to check out my Linktree if you're planning to look for other listening platforms for the Thoughts of Lielers. Yes, we are available on so many platforms, just a heads up for y'all in case if you were wondering. And of course, the link is always under the description of the episodes. As I mentioned in the previous episodes, now I've been more active on social media, meaning that I am posting on both on my Instagram, TikTok, and now on YouTube Shorts. So there's no excuse for you guys not to follow me on social media. But yeah, there is a few things I did posted, and I'm obviously going to talk about it under this episode. So might as well, let's get this show started. I'm going to give you guys a cover of what I'm going to be talking about. Obviously, we're going to start off with movies. I'm going to talk about a few trailers that are out. Leading my way to television, Fallout. Yes, I'm covering that as well. Music, maybe like one news for gaming. And then in wrestling, we have a lot of drama, and then eventually making our way to Wrestlemania Night too. So let's go ahead and get started with The Crow. As mentioned in last week's episode, I saw the trailer actually during the showing of Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, and I forgot to mention on here like, hey, I saw the trailer, we need to talk. Now, if you guys have not done so, definitely go check out the 1994 version of The Crow, which features Brandon Lee, who tragically passed away during the filming of the movie. This movie has been in the works, obviously, and it has been featuring Bill Skarsgård, who's going to be playing Eric Draven. Now, this, I would suggest, is probably a reboot because it is coming to the similarities of what happened in the original 1994 movie. However, it has a different story, but again, the same outcome. So on the trailer itself, if you guys have not done so, definitely go check it out on YouTube. That's where I went to go rewatch it. But it looks like Eric Draven and Shelley Webster, who actually met in prison, and they were madly in love with each other, as we see on the trailer. You can see that they were going to spend the rest of their lives with each other. However, it looks like what led to their deaths was something that Shelley probably saw that she wasn't supposed to see. And then whoever was in charge of whatever she wasn't supposed to see ended up killing both her and Eric. And that's the thing about the Crow movies, you know, supposedly they're both dead, but one of the crows brings back Eric from the dead. And now he's on a mission to seek revenge for those that did him and Shelley wrong. But now that he's resurrected, he also has like these super human abilities where he can also regenerate from his wounds, and now he's getting into that super dark heavy makeup that we all love and appreciate from the original Crow movies. Now my thing is that, like, okay, I get it, it's a reboot and all of that, but the fact that this Eric Draven has short hair, and I'm used to seeing like semi-long hair from the character that Brandon Lee brought in. Now, he will always be the OG of the Crow for sure, but the way how Bill looks like, I'm like, damn, he's hot as hell. Like, come on, man. I'm still gonna watch it regardless. Now, this movie is set to release on August 23rd of this year. It was supposed to be in June, but it got delayed, but that's okay, you know. But again, I highly recommend for you guys to watch the original Crow movies. When I was growing up, I think I was like 7 or 8, I want to say, and my brother had a VCR copy of the second Crow. It was called City of Angels, and I vaguely remember most of it, and I'm like, I need to rewatch it, but it was obviously a different actor. But I still recommend for you guys to watch maybe the first one, maybe the City of Angels, and then the other ones, but I feel like the other ones just kind of kill the vibe after that. go watch the trailer and let's go ahead and talk about Joker now. So we finally have the teaser trailers, not the official trailer, it's teaser trailer. It is the official one that got released by Warner Brothers, but now I get to see of what the story plot might consist of the sequel that is called Fully a Ducks. Now the trailer starts off with Arthur Fleck, who is now in Arkham Asylum, and obviously it's the events right after the first Joker. Definitely go check it out, because if not, I'm pretty sure you're going to be all confused as hell. Now here is where the story is different compared to the other Joker and Harley Quinn storylines that we know from the comics and in other movies. Now it looks like Harley Quinn is already in Arkham Asylum, and she's actually with a group of people, and she notices Joker as he's walking past her, and so I'm like, wait, what's going on over here? Now this is where it gets interesting. Where there's darkness, there is colors. We see another scene of, Arthur with the guards, and all of the cards have like colorful umbrellas, and I'm like, this is something. And I call it, an art piece, honestly. And afterwards we see another scene where Lady Gaga is looking as stunning as always, but she may not be the Dr. Harleen Quinzel that we love and appreciate in the comics. Now we also get another scene of them dancing under the moonlight, which I mentioned as they released some of the images of the movie, and I'm like, this is beautiful and romantic. Where is my Joker now that I talk about it? But still, when you see them dancing, you can't help but to notice Arthur is already in Joker makeup. So I'm like, oh, is this already like after they kind of like admitted their feelings for each other or something? What am I going to that? Hang on. But like, as you continue to watch the trailer, we also got to see that one clip that was released on the internet where it looks like Arthur is running from himself in a Joker mask, along with himself in full-blown Joker outfit, makeup, and everything. So I'm like, okay, but I'm still trying to figure out the meaning of it. Now, it looks like we may get some jazz music in this movie, because it looks like there's a scene that looks like they're in a jazz club. And keep in mind, they do not release any of the singing songs that they're going to be performing in the movie. It's just cinematic music in the background playing in this trailer. Now, this is where it's different, because it looks like Joker or Arthur has the same feelings towards Harley. And I'm like, finally, a part where they're not playing hard to get. But let's take a moment and appreciate whoever came up with the last clip of the trailer. It looks like Harley draws a smile with a lipstick on a glass that's between her and Arthur. And she tells him, like, I want to see the real you. And then this part is where it gets really interesting. Arthur then tilts to where the lipstick is at, and then smiles so perfectly to where it's matching the stain. And I'm like, holy shit. I think everybody in the comments, like wherever the video was posted, were appreciating that scene. It was beautiful. Now, this movie is set to release on October 4th, 2024, and I'm so excited. I'm like, yes, thank God. I think I was complaining in the beginning stages of the show where cinema needs to work on their movies, but it is safe to say that yes, we're finally back, and I've been saying that so much. But yeah, now my thing is that because of this movie coming out, I'm like, yay, what's next? Well, there's other movies that are being made, and I'm kind of shocked. Wait, where am I going with this? Monopoly. Yes, the board game that we all have played is getting a film. Live action film at that. And you're probably wondering, who is making this? Well, Margaret Robbie's company, also known as Lucky Champ, is collaborating with Lionsgate to help create this movie. And I'm like, what? Is this going to be some kind of horror movie? Because that's what I know Lionsgate for. But then again, they have made other movies. I am very curious to see how that trailer is going to look. But hey, I'm not judging right now. We'll wait until then. In other news, Warner Brother announced that Matrix 5 is in the works and Lana Wachowski is going to be executive producer. I thought we wrapped the story after 4. Either way, I still gotta support my boy Keanu Reeves. Now, speaking of Keanu, there is also going to be a John Wick spin-off movie called La Ballerina, and it will feature John Wick appearance from Keanu Reeves himself. Even though it's a spin-off, I gotta support him no matter what. I also came across an announcement that Marvel has casted Julia Gardner as the Silver Surfer for the new Fantastic Four. Spoilers. But yeah, I think we were expecting a male. I think we're gonna get a female, which is a good game changer if you ask me. Remember how I was against the whole sequel for Five Nights at Freddy's? Well, Universal Pictures has confirmed that the sequel will be coming on fall 2025. And even though I gave it negative feedback when I was reviewing the first movie, I still gotta watch the sequel because you never know. A lot of fans were loving it, so I guess I gotta give it a chance. There is also word going around that there will be an R-rated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie called The Last Ronin. Keep in mind that it might not be suitable for children because I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of blood and violence. Since we're in the topic of gory, I heard that Jason Blum is planning to reboot the horror film The Blair Witch Project. Of course, it will have a new generation compared to the 1999 movie. I saw one of the reboots, and if you ask me, I remember it was nowhere near the OG Blair Witch movie. Now, knowing Jason Blum, he's gonna butcher it and then include some of like the most cringiest scenes I probably can assume right now. If you think about it, 1999 did not consist of technology, and I'm assuming this one will have some. Will I go watch it? Hell to the fucking no. Why? Because I already know it's not going to be worth my time. But I do recommend for you guys to watch the OG 1999 movie. Go watch it now. Speaking of scary movies, there is also been an announcement that Scary Movie is going to be receiving a reboot as announced on CinemaCon. That's where I've been getting all of this information. My thoughts is that hopefully it's still as hilarious than the originals. Now, are we still gonna get Anna Faris, the Wyan brothers? I miss Shorty, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna be referencing the new popular movies. I wouldn't be surprised if they start adding Godzilla or even the Avengers on this movie. Since we're in the topic of CinemaCon, I also found out that they announced that there's going to be a Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover movie. I'm very curious to see how it goes. We haven't seen a lot of crossover movies, if you ask me. In terms of G.I. Joe, are we still gonna get Channing Tatum back or even The Rock to be in this movie? And lastly, it has also been announced that Saw 11 is now delayed until September 26, 2025. Honestly, thank God. I'm not excited for it. I still haven't seen Saw X. I don't even know if it's worth watching it, but we will see what's gonna happen in this movie. But that wraps up what I have for you on the movie section. Let's go ahead and talk about television, starting off with Fallout. There's so many thoughts and I need to talk about it. Of course, the new Fallout series is now available on Amazon Prime. All 8 episodes are there. Good thing they're not doing a schedule for it. The only downfall of it is that I finished watching it and I'm craving for more. The first thing I do want to say is that I highly recommend this show. You will understand why I love playing the game. Keep in mind, this series was directed by Jonathan Nolan. Nolan. And yes, he is the brother of Christopher Nolan. Now, the thing is that he also directed Westworld, which is another show that I need to go watch. There are so many references in the series that left me wanting for season 2. Now, the thing is that you are on a journey of 3 different characters who will cross paths with each other. They all have their different backgrounds. And with that being said, I don't think it is supposed to be exactly like the story plots from the games, but it gives you another perspective of the Vault Dwellers and Vault Tech. So forget everything you know about the game story-wise and enjoy the ride. I do have a spoiler thought, so if you're planning to watch the series, maybe jump 30 seconds, but there is no death clause until the end. But even then, I'm like, we only got to see the remains, not the actual death claw. The whole time I'm watching the series, I'm like, where is it? Where is it? No, not even. But hey, again, this is one of the reasons why I'm waiting for season 2. And you know what? That's it. I am renewing my Xbox subscription and playing Fallout New Vegas 3 and 4 and even 96. So with that being said, go watch the Fallout series. Even if you haven't played the game, go watch. It's very entertaining. There are some necessary humor moments, which is okay, not cringy as I thought it would be. But again, definitely go watch it. Highly recommend it. So that was my little small Fallout moment I wanted to talk about. Now let's go ahead and move it forward. So sad news for Game of Thrones fans. Kit Harington, who also plays Jon Snow, announced that spin-off show is now off the tables and no longer in development. A lot of fans were saying to just scrap the shows overall, including House of the Dragon, and just simply redo season 6 to 8 of the original series. What are your thoughts? Me personally, I was looking forward to see what the future hold after Game of Thrones for Jon Snow, but now we will never know until further notice. The next announcement goes for Daredevil fans, so listen up. Jon Bernthal is back as the Punisher. A few images were released during the series filming, and you can see him and Charlie Cox broing it out, literally. And with that being said, for those that do not know, Daredevil Born Again has officially wrapped filming, and the series is now coming soon. And that's all I have for you guys on television. Now let's go ahead and talk about music. This news, however, I've been wanting to talk about it since last week, but of course we were talking about Simply Just Wrestling. But last week on April 4th, Ghost posted on their social media, and I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? So move aside, Swifties, because Us Ghouls are now hitting the theaters. On the clip, you get to see Papa bowing down, and all of us are thinking that we might see the last of Copia in this movie. And then, I don't know, but I couldn't help but to notice that there was a random clip of Sister Imperator just standing there like nothing. And I'm over here like, what are you doing? Is this intentional though? I don't know. But the short video did end it with the letter saying, coming soon to cinemas worldwide. And honestly, I am ready to talk about my first music movie review. I am excited to see what they film over there at the Kira Forum back when the Re-Impetor was still going. But I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. However, I'm also not excited to see if, yes, this is probably going to be the end of Papa Copia. The other news I have for you guys in this music category is that I'm kind of low-key mad that I don't live in the West Coast. Why do you ask? Because System of a Down announced that they're going to be performing with Deftones, the Mars Volta, Viagra Boys, and The Vows on August 17 in San Francisco. Tickets are now on sale. If I had a ton of money, I probably would love to go by myself. If anything, I would also love to see Deftones perform their song called Made, which actually features Serge Tankian himself. So if anybody happens to go, please record it so I can go see it. Lastly, I wanted to talk about Slipknot. So I came across an article on Loudwire that says, everything we know about Slipknot's unreleased album, look outside your window. And I'm like, what is going on? So apparently this album has been teased a lot, but it has been delayed for so many reasons. Now the article does say that the album was recorded by several members of the band in the late 2000s. Of course, you know what that means. It does consist of the OG members. And rumor has it that supposedly the band might announce the album during Sick New World Festival that they're going to be performing in later this year. Here's where it gets interesting, because I know I mentioned the OG members of Slipknot. However, it says here that they worked during the All Hope Is Gone section. And it only consists of Clown, Corey Taylor, Jim Root, and Sid Wilson. Apparently, Clown told Kerrang on an interview, quote, the truth is, while we were making the album, Jim and I, who were the only ones out of the 9 original members who came to the studio, were there every day from the beginning to the end. And then Corey and Sid became part of it, and all 4 of us became a part of it. It wasn't just any one person. It became ours. And because of that, We played it for a lot of people and we said, what do you think? And these people would always say, it's not Slipknot. It has also have been reported that 11 songs were recorded for it, and a few of them wound up in other albums. It also has a Radiohead vibe. Corey Taylor apparently wanted it to combine it with All Hope Is Gone, but only one song, which happens to be Till We Die, happens to be in the special edition of All Hope Is Gone. And obviously, if you have been into a Slipknot concert, they will play that at the very end while everybody's saying their goodbyes. The other song was called My Pain, and that one ended up in the We're Not Your Kind album. Once I hear that one, I'm like, I was not a fan of My Pain. Loudwire released the tentative songs on here according to Slipknot Wiki. Some of the songs are called Chapter 1, The 11th March, Dirge, it's spelled Dirge. The other song is called In Reverse, Juliet, and Moth. Corey Taylor actually did say that he hopes it never releases, but then had a change of heart. He said, and I quote, I was talking to Clown about the other day and he goes, one of the reasons why it hasn't come out is because you keep putting shit out which keeps conflicting with when I want to release it. I was like, fuck it, dude. Why didn't you tell me? He says, fuck Taylor. You just got too much shit. Corey continues to say, I just went back and listened to all that stuff and it's so dope and so different. People going into this thinking it sounds like it's Slipknot. Slipknot are so wrong. It doesn't sound like anything Slipknot has ever done. Then why is its own thing? To me, it really is the long lost album. The music is so beautiful. It probably has some of my favorite melodies that I've done, and people are really going to dig it. Clown did a really good job. Supposedly this was supposed to come out in 2019, but of course I'm assuming the pandemic pushed it, and now it's possibly set to release later this year. Once hearing about this makes me think I already know how the Slipknot fans are going to take it. They're probably going to be like, oh, why don't all four of y'all just do y'all's own thing? Which technically speaking, that's how it is, except we still have, Mick as one of the OG members. I don't know. Me personally, once hearing My Pain was part of it, I was like, it's not a good song. But then Till We Die was a good song. We'll see how it's going to go. I'm obviously going to be talking about it if it does get released. Now, I have one little tiny announcement for gaming, and it's about Xbox. And then after that, we're going to be talking about wrestling. So, Xbox is moving forward with creating the next-gen console. I'm over here like at this point, instead of me upgrading to the Xbox Series X, I think I'm just going to wait it out for the next-gen console. Same thing with PlayStation 5. However, consumer-wise, I think we need to stop making consoles and make great games. I keep saying that a lot. I even read into the comments where IGN posted this announcement and somebody was like, just make great games for these new consoles right now and then put your focus on the next gen consoles. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about wrestling before wrapping up this week's episode. So, for those that do not know, Alberto Del Rio is now in AAA Lucha Libre. It looks like the United States and the fans don't want him here after the things that he has done. So, yeah, stay over there. He made a little heartfelt speech when he showed up, but it didn't click on me. But of course, over there in Mexico, we do have that Mexican pride and everybody was accepting him. So I'm over here like, I guess. Now, this is the part where I'm like, if you guys do not follow me on social media, then I guess you're going to hear it here on the podcast. So there has been something going on between CM Punk and AEW. So during WrestleMania weekend, CM Punk was talking about his side of the story about the incident that happened between him and Jack Perry, also known as Jungle Boy. Now, the thing is that he told his story. A lot of fans are so devoted to him, and WWE is still going to keep him employed. So, I was not expecting that this past episode of AEW Dynamite, the EVPs, also known as Nick and Matt Jackson, had the audacity to explain their side of the version of what happened. But instead of explaining, they decided to release the footage of CM Punk going into that altercation with Jungle Boy. And I'm watching it. This is the only times I actually do watch AEW. And I'm just sitting there and looking at the footage. And I'm like, why is it silent? What's going on? And I look up. And my dad, me and him watch wrestling, together. And he's like, who's that? And I'm like, that's Jungle Boy. And then when I look at the stars in the back of the hoodie, I'm like, holy shit, that's CM Punk. Hold up, what's going on? What did I miss, And you see, obviously, CM Punk punching first at Jungle Boy. And basically, Matt and Nick Jackson are over here saying, like, CM Punk wants to talk about what happened, but they know the facts. At the end of the day, we don't know all the facts. But my thing is that in a fan perspective, that's kind of not the right thing to do, especially, again, on national television. And I posted about this on social media, asking a few people, like, what are their thoughts? And I did get a bunch of comments, which everybody is citing on CM Punk, because AEW, the way how they executed the explanation part of their behalf, was not professional at all. And I agree. So it's like there could have been so many ways, or you could have just ignored it overall. CM Punk did mention in the interview supposedly that, the altercation between him and Jungle Boy was that he originally did went up to Tony Khan and told him to, quote, handle this. But Tony was like, what do you want me to do? So CM Punk was like, if you don't handle this, you're not going to like the way how I handle this, which led to whatever the video footage that they released. And you start siding with CM Punk more because, everybody that has worked somewhere can understand that if your boss doesn't do something to reduce tension in the workplace, you might just leave, and that's what CM Punk left, even though he didn't leave in good terms. Now, the reason why, the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt, decided to, release the footage is basically trying to protect their brand and saying, like, hey, we're trying to grow this, and that. But at the same time, again, on national television, like, what the fuck? I don't know. Me personally, at the same time, part of me wanted to tell the people that, were commenting on my video, like, my actual thoughts. But I'm like, you know what? Hang on, let me hold off. My actual thought is, hold up. Is this something planned? And I mentioned this on the video. Is this like a planned feud? Or is this really happening? And what I mean by something planned, it's like, is there a possible forbidden door in the works between WWE and AEW? I don't know, because I can see that happening, especially in the Paul Levesque era. I can see that. But at the same time, I don't know if, again, it's just competitors going up against each other. CM Punk said what he had to say. It didn't sound so good, and of course, there is video footage of it. There's no way that could have been planned if they're going to let him go and next thing you know, competing to a competitor business. So it doesn't make any sense, but again, it's my theory because again, and we're going to talk about this during my thoughts on Wrestlemania Night 2, but it's like there was something there that could have happened. But at the same time, it's like I can see a forbidden door between them. I don't know yet. I don't know. It's just a random thought. Who knows? But this whole altercation didn't go in the favor for AEW. It mostly just favored CM Punk. And at the end of the day, and I've said this to the people that commented on my video, shout out to everybody, by the way, that no matter what, it's not like WWE is going to fire CM Punk for saying what he had to say. Like, he's still going to be in WWE. The fans are still going to appreciate them. And, AEW is still going to end up losing viewership. It's just like any other promotional business. And I want to say, Papa H probably talked about this during Hall of Fame, that the same way how the company is, the same way how they can go downhill. And I feel like because of Tony Khan's action, it is going to be going downhill pretty soon. And, again, if you watch AEW, you can see that there's so many empty seats on there. They're starting to lose viewership, and it's not looking so good. Honestly, my only problem with AEW is the storylines. They don't make any sense. And I know I'm supposed to be watching it every single week and try to stay up to date of what's going on, but sometimes I skip it. And when I come back and watch it, it's a whole new storyline, and I'm like, hold up, how did this came to be? Like, it leaves me confused. At this point, people are just wrestling, which is okay because I support wrestlers in general. But at the same time, I'm like, make the storyline make sense, Now, before I get rambled on this whole thing, let me go ahead and talk about WWE and eventually making my way to WrestleMania Night 1. Now, there's something particular happening during the premium live events of SmackDown and Raw. If you guys have not listened to my previous episode, I talked about the Bray Wyatt documentary. And if you guys happen to watch the very end of it, you know, passing the end credits, you get to see what looks like a potential teaser of Uncle Howdy possibly coming back to WWE. And, you know, Taylor Rotunda, you know, finishing off what his brother Wyndham couldn't just finish because unfortunately he passed away. Now, the particular thing that's happening is that people are posting videos of, I don't know if it's during the commercial break or whatnot, because I haven't seen it like live on television, but it looks like the screen goes black for a while and you hear like a song playing in the background as that's happening. And you see the crowd like turning on their lights, you know, giving a little Firefly moment. But then afterwards, it's like maybe like not even a minute, I would say 30 seconds. And then everything goes back to normal. And people are like, whoa, like, is this Uncle Howdy? And everybody in the comments is supporting it. And I know on the last episode, I was like talking about, okay, maybe he will come back in WrestleMania weekend. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So, yeah. But still, I love how they're teasing it, and I'm hoping it is Uncle Howdy, because again, I will cry my eyes out the moment I see Taylor Rotunda coming back to the stage and doing what he loves the most. So I can't wait. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about WrestleMania Night 2. Kicking it off with a surprise guest. That's right. Stephanie McMahon came out. I was not expecting. I thought we were just going to see her in Hall of Fame and that was it. No, she came out. She made a statement. At the same time, it was like, I don't know if she's like still working for WWE. A lot of people said that no, she's just, you know, at-home wife now. But at the same time, her husband is the one that's running the show now. And because of that, she came out, you know, shouted out her king as she should. But my thing is that, like, she said that this WrestleMania is special because it's the first of the Paul Levesque era. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so cute. And then not even that. So like she's over there having the moment with the audience, you know, with the whole crowd and say like, all right, Philadelphia, like, are you ready? I'm hearing her and I can just think, oh my God, my boy Papa H's and Gorilla right now just having a loving feeling for Stephanie. Like he's falling in love with her all over again and I'm for it. And what does my boy do? He posts this picture of him hugging Steph with the caption, forever. And I'm like, oh, please stop. Oh my God. Because that's what he told her when he was getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. I even cried because he's like, Steph, forever. And I'm like, I love you, Mama and Papa. And I even commented on that picture. I was like, Mama and Papa, I love you both. Oh my God, I'm getting all emotional. But anywho, let me go ahead and talk about the first match of the night. And everybody's been talking about it. I even talked about it. That was one of the other things I posted on TikTok, which is Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk is also on commentary. Keep that in mind. Now, Drew came out and he had the Scottish entrance that he deserved. Of course, keep this in mind. When I say Drew deserves a WrestleMania moment, I'm not talking about the one that took place during the pandemic because he had no audience. Now he gets over 70,000 people cheering for him. Then Seth came out with the Philadelphia Stringline Association playing his theme. It gave me like this colorful Aztec vibe, but that is actually Philly culture, which is pretty awesome that, you know, they brought it there for Mania. Now, the Philly crowd was finally loud for Seth, or maybe because they heard how much we were all complaining from the night before, how dead the crowd was. Now, as soon as the bell rang, my homeboy, Drew, ended up doing a Claymore right then and there, and I was about to pass out if there was a short match. But thank God that wasn't the case. Seth ended up kicking out, and the match was still going. Here's my funny moment that happened. I couldn't help but to notice that Drew was over there on the side where his wife was at, and then all of a sudden he's grabbing his phone, and I was like, who is he texting? Apparently he was tweeting, and we'll get back into that in a bit. But still, my boy Seth is over there struggling while he's over there taking a little mini break. Not only that, Drew also kept taunting CM Punk throughout this whole time. And then throughout the match, Seth was kicking out to 4 Claymores. And I'm like, oh my god, this match is intense. Even though I kind of suspect who's gonna win. Anywho, Drew ended up beating Seth for the championship and got that Mania moment. I did feel the match was short. It was like mostly main moves after main moves. It's kind of like, Brock Lesnar, throwing F5s here and there. I don't know. There wasn't that much momentum. However, I cried when I saw Seth cry. I'm like, no, please stop. Then Seth leaves and I'm over here like, okay, no Damien. Huh, okay, alright. Well, I don't know. I still wasn't letting go the fact that Damian Priest still had the money in the bank. But then, Drew, after winning, he went, celebrated just a little bit with his wife. And then he ends up going to CM Punk and rubs the championship on his face. Next thing we know, it turns out CM Punk is now healed and started hitting Drew with his arm cast. And next thing you know, we hear Damien's theme song. I started losing it because, again, I keep telling all of y'all, keep this in mind. He still has the money in the bank. And, of course, Damien successfully cashed in and won. I was low-key happy that he took the title from Drew than Seth, honestly. But if you think about it, we are in the Judgment Day era because Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley are now dominating Raw. Okay, and back to what I was talking about, Drew, with the whole tweeting. What did he tweet? Homeboy tweeted, quote, bored at work, LOL. And I'm like, really, boy? And then after, Mania was over, I ended up going back on Twitter. And it turns out he reposted that tweet and said the word fuck. And I was like, oh my god, I have to talk about this on TikTok. So I decided to screenshot the messages with the message where he said bored at work. The next one is Drew just tweeting. But then the next one was him saying fuck. And the next one was basically Drew McIntyre's WrestleMania moment in a grave with Damian Priest piecing it out and CM Punk just lurking it. I'm like, But we all know that Drew and CM Punk are going to be clashing it out. Who knows? Maybe at Backlash or Clash of the Castle? We'll see. Either way, protect Drew McIntyre at all costs for being the social media meme as we speak. Now, the next match was the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley versus the Final Testament. Snoop Dogg was on commentary and Bubba Ray Dudley was the guest referee. I was not expecting that. They just threw him out there out of nowhere. Now, Authors of Pain was like attack with the kendo sticks. Literally, that's all I saw the very first, minute and a half of the match. For a while, I forgot Bubba was there as the ref because everybody was having their own little commotion, ladders here, throwing stuff here and there. Then eventually there was a little bit tension between Bubba and Karrion Kross. And then that led to Bubba just leading the Street Profits and Lashley on how to do some Dudley moves. And the crowd was hella loud for the tables per usual. Of course, the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley ended up winning that match. Now, the next one was LA Knight versus AJ Styles. I'm barely hearing a new theme song for AJ. I don't know if this was debuted at Mania or was it debuted before then, like on SmackDown. Either way, he was rushing to the ring. He didn't even let Samantha Irvin finish his intro. LA Knight didn't really have like an interesting intro because, I guess he's LA Knight. But then when the match started, they made it look like it was personal. Like, sweet Jesus. Like, even AJ was throwing LA Knight on a wooden floor. I'm like, oh my god, that looked painful. LA Knight was also kicking AJ in the head when AJ was going for the Styles Clash. I'm like, hold up. How do you end up countering that? Well, LA Knight ended up doing it himself. But at the end of the day, LA Knight won and he got his Mania moment. Obviously, it was deserving. But I still think he deserved a championship more. Anywho, the next match was between Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Now, Logan Paul came out with a prime truck that had a prime cannon. And then Kevin Owens was making his way to the ring, and he basically got the same greeting as he did with Sami Zayn. So Sami was over there at the end of Gorilla, and, you know, he's over there holding his new Intercontinental Championship. And he's over there telling him, you know, it is his turn to bring it home. Then Kevin Owens gets into a golf cart making his way to the ring, but then ended up reversing whenever he heard Randy Orton's team. And then it's like, let me go ahead and give you a ride. And I'm like, this is a wholesome moment. I love it. Poor Logan Paul. He literally got gained up by Randy and Kevin, but then eventually, you know, it became, again, a triple threat match. Then it was time for the 3 count, and, you know, of course, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton was, like, trying to figure out who's gonna get the win. But then Randy was like, you go, I'ma just chill. And when Kevin Owens was about to get the 3 count, you know, Randy was about to betray him. And next thing you know, like, the way that Randy does his face, like, oh my god, I got caught. It was hilarious. What shocked me even more during the match was that Randy Orton kicked out after getting hit with the brass knuckles from Logan Paul. And then, not even that, Homeboy also kicked out of Kevin Owens' stunner too. Like, damn, what the fuck? The thing that pissed me off, however, is that Logan Paul ended up retaining. I do not agree, but at the same time, I guess, you know, I mean, he's pretty good if you ask me, I guess. And then after that, it was Bayley versus Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship, even though they call it Undisputed, but I'm like, no thank you. Bayley came out in a Pharaoh attire. The crowd was obviously cheering and singing for Bayley. You know, the usual song they always sing to her? That's the one. This is where it gets a little bit sad, because some people just underestimate what great of a wrestler Io Sky is. She showed why she's that good. And I'm kind of sad that WWE didn't give her a lot of matches for her to show off her skills. It was no surprise that Bayley won, and now I wonder if she will be able to defend it more than Io, meaning more matches, more interesting storylines. Then afterwards, we got an intermission since there was only one match left, and it was already 8:40. And I'm like, sweet Jesus, is this gonna end earlier than night 1? And then afterwards, we finally got the remaining match, which was Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Now, I'm pretty sure you already heard the results. I even talked about it on last week's episode under the description if you read it. But let's go ahead and get down with it. Cody's entrance was fucking amazing. Like, he came out with a much better outfit compared to what he did on night 1. And he actually brought his logo to life. Like, his skull with the wings, he was wearing that as a mask. Not only that, he was joined by Brandy Rhodes, his wife. And the pop that I heard when the camera pans to Brandy, I was like, yes, thank you. She deserves that. Because she put up with him for so long. Even after having a baby, she still put up with him. So yes, she deserves the credit. But yeah, the crowd was even more alive. So for me, was whenever Cody was obviously going towards the ring and he was greeting his mother, you can actually see on the corner that young Brody was in attendance. He was also there at last year's WrestleMania where Cody gave him, you know, the belt buckle that he usually has. But I'm like, I love that he's still bringing him into these events. And I'm like, yes. So I know John Huber, you know, is looking down. It's like, thank you for being there for my son. So yeah, thank you, Cody. He's such a good guy. Anywho, Roman came out in an orchestrated version of his theme song, and the crowd was going like ballistic, like, oh my god, it's finally happening, you know. Roman showing, like, you know, the GOAT that he is, of course. But as soon as the bell rung there was a little moment there, because the crowd again just couldn't shut up. It's like, yes, it's finally happening. Is Cody finishing his story, or is Roman still dominating WWE? And a lot of us are very traumatized to see what the results were gonna be. But my thing is that, like, during the match, Roman literally was throwing shade at Cody, saying, "This is my company, you little bitch." And I'm like, hold up. But then again, it's a pay-per-view. Language is allowed. Anywho, during the match, of course, we ended up getting Jimmy and Jay part 2. It is not over. Like, they're going at it like crazy, but I was not expecting the spear outside of the ramp. It looked fucking brutal. Even I was saying holy shit the whole time. Then Solo Sikoa shows up. Again, keep in mind, this is Bloodline rules. Anything goes. Solo comes out, starts attacking Cody, and then next thing you know, like, we hear John Cena's theme. And it surprised a lot of people. I was still expecting MJF, but still. I did find a video on TikTok of the account at Soplex, like SOOPLEX, and he posted, like, himself at WrestleMania, literally say that Cody was on some John Cena shit tonight. And as soon as he said that, boom, John Cena's theme comes out, and the video just cuts off right there. And I'm like, damn, my boy manifested. But no, John Cena came out, he helped out Cody, and then The Rock shows up. I'm not kidding you. My boy was taking his damn ass time getting towards the ring. I'm over here like, by the time he gets there, I'm pretty sure Roman and Cody can, like, okay, fine, let's go ahead and finish it off while, John Cena and The Rock go battle it out outside of the ring. But no, like, he is getting to the ring, and then it looked like it was like WrestleMania 28 all over again. That was when Cena and The Rock actually had a match. Then John Cena took off his hat, and I could not help but to notice John Cena's bald spot. I think that makes sense why he's keeping the long hair. As that momentum's going, he keeps, like, brushing his hair backwards to cover that bald spot. But I'm like, my boy, get some Rogaine or something. You have the money. I'm pretty sure you can get it. But anywho, then, they're going at it. And all of a sudden, we get the Shield song. And I was freaking out. But, okay, keep this in mind. All of us thought that once we heard the Shield song play, we thought Jon Moxley was coming back as Dean Ambrose. I was losing it. Everybody was losing it. I even saw it on social media. I'm like, okay, good. I'm not the only one. But then Seth comes out, and, Roman still managed to spear him. And Seth was wearing, like, Shield gear and had a steel chair. So I'm like, oh, God, is this something like, revenge of what happened years ago when Seth betrayed the Shield and Roman's getting revenge? But anywho, there was that. And in regards of Jon Moxley, by the way, he actually became the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So yeah, that's not gonna happen. But still, congratulations to him. He deserves it. But anywho, while that's happening, all of a sudden, it looks like Rock still had some unfinished business with Cody. And as he was about to go in attack mode, we hear the Undertaker's theme. Everybody was crazy. I was crazy because I'm like, what? Like, how? Undertaker comes out, and it was a meme. Just know it's a meme moment right there. The same meme that we saw him behind AJ Styles when AJ thought he won the match. That's how it is. So he goes over there and chokeslams The Rock, eliminating him as a factor. And now the match can fully go underway properly. And, I can see Seth all beat up and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And the match is finally going down. It took maybe 3 crossroads for Cody to finally get the 1, 2, 3 count. Cody fucking won. He finally finished his story. Even Samantha Irvin could not contain her emotions. You hear her in the microphone, and I'm over here like, she's crying. I could tell she's crying. And they actually showed the clip, and you see her crying as she's announcing, and the new undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes. Basically that. But my thing is that, like, there was a celebration moment right afterwards. You know, Brandy Rhodes actually joins Cody in the ring, you know, congratulating him and everything. What we don't see, and I saw it on TikTok afterwards, there was a little moment between Roman and Paul Heyman. You know, obviously it was bound to happen. And Roman's over there hugging Paul Heyman. And it's like, everybody's like, oh my God, thank you, you know. Thank you, Roman. And if you think about it, Roman Reigns' title reign ended at 1,316 days. If you think about it, Roman was champion during the pandemic era. We basically call him that. And, you know, as soon as we finally got back to normal, from what a lot of people say, he finally can say, you know what? This is it, you know. Let's go ahead and give this opportunity to somebody else. Of course, it didn't happen last year. I don't know why. Maybe because Cody still needed to redeem himself just a little bit. But still, while that's happening, you know, everybody that started joining Cody to the ring, it was literally like LA Knight, Sami Zayn, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, John Cena, Jey Uso, and CM Punk. They all joined Cody in the ring alongside, you know, with Cody's family and, you know, even young Brody Lee. And my thing is that, you know, while that was happening, I also got to see another video on TikTok where Logan Paul posted a video of his reactions during the match. Logan Paul cried when Cody, you know, won. And I'm like, okay, I now have a ton of respect of Logan Paul now because of this. But one person I didn't mention was Seth. You know, he struggled to get in the ring. And Randy and Kevin, you know, lifted him up, putting him, like, on the side of the ring. And, you know, it looks like Seth is telling Cody, like, you know, I'm going to get a shot, you know, some way or another. And then, you know, after Seth goes backstage in Gorilla, they actually released a picture hugging Triple H. And also he ends up hugging Becky. And when you look at that picture, it's like, well, Becky lost the night before. Is this really it for them too? Like, are they now hanging up their boots? Or are they taking a break? Honestly, I'm leaning towards more like they're taking a break for a bit. Who knows what's going to happen? But at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, this is a new era too. Oh God, I'm not ready for it. But anywho, Cody ended up giving a small speech before, you know, the pay-per-view went off air. And he invited Papa H out in the ring. And basically, like, congratulating him for giving him that opportunity and everything. But, again, shouting out the whole fact that we are in Papa H's era. Then, you know, Cody was doing something that a lot of champions didn't get to do in previous WrestleManias. He's over there, you know, thanking everybody, including commentary. Michael Cole, you hear him in the commentary saying, like, I saw this boy since he was a kid. And then when Cody goes up to Michael Cole, I'm over here tearing up already. But he's over there, you know, hugging him. And Michael Cole's crying, and he tells him he loves him. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? I never see Michael Cole cry, but this is so wholesome for me. And I'm like, this is where it's like even better. And then I was not expecting Nick Khan to make his appearance. He's the president of WWE, just so y'all know. And afterwards, I also found out that Nick and Triple H actually gifted Cody, I think it was a replica, it's not the actual watch that his dad, Dusty Rhodes, pawned for Cody to go to acting class. But it was like a symbolism right there. And honestly, like, a lot of us are over here like, damn, we wish Dusty was alive to see his boy become WWE Championship. And obviously, you know, Cody has said it before, you know, if he ever had a moment to see him again, obviously the first thing he would ask is, did I make you proud? And also, sorry for the tattoo. But yeah, I am, you know, giving so many props to Triple H for finally giving the fans what we wanted, because in so many WrestleMania moments, we're always leaving upset, especially because, you know, it is said that Vince McMahon, whatever he says goes, and Triple H is now changing all of that. And, you know, I think I've said it before, but I'm going to say it once again. I think a lot of us, like WWE fans, are traumatized of what Vince McMahon has left us for I don't know how many years. Like, I've been watching wrestling since I was probably 4, since I barely have a memory from what I can remember. But my thing is that, like, I've been traumatized expecting the worst. But now with this new era, I'm like, okay, I'm assuming the best now, which is amazing. So thank you, Papa H. This is why we bow down to you in SpongeBob memes where SpongeBob is bowing down. There's a picture of Triple H on the wall. I love it. But yeah, like WrestleMania Night 2, I will say was so much better than Night 1. Even though, again, I mentioned in last week's episode, I had high hopes for Night 1, but it wasn't the case. Now what's happening in Raw and SmackDown, there is already a lot of blend of wrestlers. So each wrestler is going to either Raw or SmackDown. Why? Because now the WWE draft is slowly approaching. It's going to be happening at the end of this month. So Cody is bouncing back and forth in Raw. And then we're also seeing a lot of NXT wrestlers come in and show off their skills. We saw Ilja Dragunov on Raw. And then we saw Roxanne Perez too. And I'm like, what's going on over here? But yeah, I'm expecting a lot of things on the draft. However, I cannot help but to notice that during the promotion of the WWE draft, I hear Triple H's voice in the back, like, this is different, get ready for something, and I'm over here like, are we probably going to get free agents right now? Who knows? I cannot wait to see how that's going to happen. My prediction, though, is that I have a feeling that maybe Judgment Day is going to end up getting drafted to SmackDown. Cody and Bayley are probably gonna, Cody's gonna stay on Raw and Bayley's probably gonna move to Raw. I don't know. That's my thoughts. We will see. Obviously, we'll talk about it eventually. But with that being said, that wraps up this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I sure did. We had a lot to ramble, but I wasn't expecting for me to go less than an hour. That's pretty good on my behalf. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X. And follow me on TikTok at Lielers. Because, of course, I'm going to be posting videos over there more often. So follow me. Now, go. Anywho, and then as always, if you guys are looking for more listening platforms that the Thoughts of Lielers is available, check out my link tree. In case if you don't know, just look underneath the description of this episode and you will be able to find the link. If not, make sure to visit at linktr.ee/Lielers. I hope you guys did enjoy the episode, and as always, I will talk to you guys on the next one.